everyone, it's Shan. Today I'm going to be taking you guys through my reading journal migration. What that is this is the first reading journal that I had for 2025, but there wasn't enough page left for the rest of the year. So I've moved everything from August till December into this new reading journal that I've set up. And I guess I'm going to show you a quick tour of this journal. Very quick because I've already done a pretty brief tour. So nothing much has changed in this journal. And I'll kind of talk through what I brought to the new one, and then we'll do a quick run through of how the new journal looks like for the second half-ish of 2025. So this was actually my first reading journal that I've ever set up before. So a lot of this is very much exploratory, just kind of testing to see what I like. And so I started off with a quote that I didn't really like the format of this, to be honest. Like, kind of don't look at this because I don't like how it looks. And I have my little book rating here. So next is my index, and I taped this down to make a little Dutch door situation, because originally I wasn't expecting to fill this up all the way for the index, since I was doing 2 books to 1 line, or like 2 books to a page. But when I started switching to a book a page, I ended up filling it out a lot quicker. So it ended up needing another page, and I just kind of, a continuation. And I have my monthly books read. I like this page, but I feel like I could add more information. So I did keep something like this in the new one. My ebook library, my reading log, which was actually perfect from January to July because I'm on 33 books, and this ends at 34, so good time to migrate. And then I have all my reading pages, and I didn't do any cover pages or anything for the first 5 months of the year. And then I decided maybe I want to do something a bit more creative and artsy. So I decided to do cover pages for June onwards. One of the issues I had though with cover pages is that there's a lot of bleed through. So I ended up just kind of pasting whatever here, which is why this page looks really messy. It was kind of just like a dump of blah. For these, I separated it into like little subsections for the ratings, and kind of a little sentence or two about what I thought about each of these categories. And then under here I wrote just a general stream of consciousness, like just general thoughts about how I liked the book, or how well the book read, or how interested I was, pretty much anything. So yeah, and I did that for this one too. And I was kind of fiddling around with different ways of doing the acronyms. I ended up sticking with like a circle, like a shape with the letter inside. And this is like a book cover archive because I have a little thing of book covers that I printed out. And this is just so I have a record of what I know I've already printed out, so I don't have to reprint them out again. And waste paper, and then I just do 1 page per book that I've read. I read a lot in July because I had a lot of free time. And then I have my mid-year check-in. Nothing too fancy. I just kind of wrote up my goals for the second half of 2025, and then some just general stats from the first half of the year. And I also wanted to do the alphabet challenge because I thought it was really interesting, and it's a good way of kind of going out of my way to think about what to read next. So I have that. And then my cover page of July, kind of like a scrapbook theme. And this is really messy, so like don't even look at it. I was just slapping everything on there, so it doesn't look the best. But yeah, for July I read a lot because I borrowed a lot of books from the library, and because they have due dates, I kind of dedicated myself to reading them a bit more than I usually would for like ebooks or like books that I own, because I'm like, I'm on a time crunch, guys. I'm on a time crunch. I need to read these. I didn't really change too much in July. I kind of stuck with the same format because I found I really like this format. The only exception was for The Glass Castle, which was a memoir. So instead of doing that separate kind of thing that I did for the fiction books, I did a blab because I realized early on when I read Educated, you need a different template basically for non-fiction books, but I haven't really thought about that yet because I don't tend to read a lot of non-fiction books, so I'm just sticking with a word vomit. And then I kind of decorate with stickers and tape as well. I think the only consistent thing I have is having these book pages that I stick in the corners, which I really like. So that's something I will bring to the next reading journal. Yeah, and actually, I'm pretty sure I'm meant to read this after the 5th or 6th, or like whatever. But since on Goodreads it's listed as 3.5, I read this first, and I was like, something's a bit weird. So yeah, I think I've read it in the wrong order, but anyway, it doesn't really matter, I guess. And then for my journal migration page, I just stuck in my favorites of 2025. I was actually also meant to stick in The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because that was definitely one of my favorites of 2025 so far, but there didn't end up being space for a 5th, so she kind of got booted out. But if I had to replace one of these, I would say I replace The Glass Castle with Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. But all of these are kind of what I've loved the most, enjoyed reading the most throughout 2025. And then here I just wrote a brief kind of thing of stats. I didn't really go too ham on the stats, especially because like my mid-year check-in also had kind of like top books read, so I didn't want to total books read, sorry. And I didn't want to do genres again because it wouldn't have changed, definitely not. So yeah, I was kind of thinking maybe classics read, which I counted 4. Longest book, which was The Well of Ascension, around almost 600 pages, and the shortest book was Secret History, both from Miss Thorne. Secret History. And yeah, that was my last page. And yeah, there's not a lot, there's only a couple pages left, and that will definitely not be enough to tie me over to the end of 2025. So that brings me to my new reading journal, and I decorated the cover in a similar-ish way, with like calligraphy, pages, and then some stickers. So for this, I got the sticker sheet of House Moving Castle stickers that actually I don't know if you guys noticed, but I used it at the end to kind of like ease into the journal, I guess. It's not really a House Moving Castle theme, but I just had a sticker sheet for House Moving Castle, so I added this. And then I have a bit of like a magical potion theme going on, at least going into August. That's kind of my theme. So I stuck this potion sticker that I had. And so going into the first page, I kept the quote because I really like this quote. It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it. I think that's very significant, and especially as, you know, in schools we're forced to study books a lot, and so I feel like what you read when you aren't required to really tells you a lot about kind of what you will become. So with the index, I kept the format pretty similar with the corner page things because, again, as I said, I really like that aesthetic and it's really easy to do, so I don't have to think too much about what I'm doing. And for this, I added a actual Dutch door, so I just cut the top and bottoms off, and I just left it like this. And then I decorated with some tape and some stickers. So yeah, I feel like I might need to use both sides of this, but we'll see how things go going into the next couple months. I suspect I will be reading less than I did in June and July, just because I'll be a bit more busy, but we'll see. And the next page, I put the alphabet challenge, and as you can see, I've made quite a bit of progress. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters that I need to fulfill. And for the reading log, I actually ended up doing like a landscapes thread because for this reading log that was portrait, I found that there wasn't really enough space to write book names or author names sometimes. So as you can see, I mean, this is a bit of a special case because there were 2 authors, but for The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, like, it was very hard to fit it in. And I would need to put it into 2 lines, and it looks a bit cramped like that, and I didn't really like that. But I also wanted to keep all of these sections too, so I decided to just change it and put it in a landscape mode. And as you can see, it's way more spread out and just much easier to look at. Oh, I need to actually complete this thing. But yeah, I also made this a Dutch door too, because I know in the previous journal I wrote my goal to be 40, but since I'm entering into August with 33, I'm pretty sure I can read 7 books by the end of the year, so I changed my goal to 50. So I did this little Dutch door situation. And the next page here is my rating system, and this was actually not meant to be here, but I kind of screwed up because for the next page, as you can see, there's a lot of bleed through, so I was like, oh no, I don't know what to do. And so I was trying to cover it up with the pages, and then I just ended up being like, you know what, I'm just going to put my rating system. And so I put all the acronyms, what the acronyms stand for, and then a little blurb about what each section entails. So yeah, I don't love this page, but whatever. Now this is my favorite page. It's my ebook library page. To be honest, most of the time, I know these couple of months have been a bit of an exception because I've gone to the library a lot, but usually I read my books as an ebook because it's quite easy to take anywhere because I read on my phone. So yeah, but most of these are actually things I read last year, I believe. Yeah, but I just want to kind of keep track, and then these are the ones I haven't read, hence the red and to be read kind of signs here. And I put decorations, and the way I decorated this was I colored in all the background stuff in color pencil and crayons, and then I colored things I have read in texter or markers. So there's a bit of contrast between the background and the books. And as you can see, I added a few things that I really like. I'm a bit of a Marvel fan, as you can see, if you recognize these 2 items. Huge Marvel fan. Also going through my Marvel phase as well. I've been wanting to rewatch Marvel, but anyway, that's completely unrelated to right now. And then I have my little dog, because she's very important to me, and I have some toys for her. Yeah, I really enjoyed making this spread and decorating it, and I think it turned out really, really nice. And next is my physical bookshelf. I actually had this in my, did I skip over it? I might have skipped over it. Oh, I think I did. I think I might have skipped over it. But yeah, here I drew out all the books, but I never ended up filling them in. So I'm going to try fill them out. I've just been really lazy and I can't be bothered, but that is my goal. And I actually stuck a piece of paper behind here because the bleed through for this page was pretty bad as well. So I just covered it up with tape on the side so you can't really tell. Next we have my book cover archive, same as my old journal. I quite liked how it worked. And then series tracker. So this is one page that I don't really like, to be honest. And so this is the format I was testing out in my previous journal, which I also don't like. I feel like it looks quite messy, but I also don't really like this. This is a more traditional series tracker that I've seen a lot of people use. I'm personally not a fan of it. I don't know, it just looks really plain and bland, and I don't know, I don't like how it looks, but I wanted to try it out. And as I thought and expected, not a fan. I think with kind of future series that I'll record, I don't know if I'll record these 2 because I don't think they have any new releases for 2025, but I'll have to double check that. I'll probably just test underneath and see how things go, but I guess luckily or unluckily, I don't really read series, or at least a lot of books I've read, I haven't, and they are in series, I haven't wanted to continue them personally. Whether that be good or bad, I don't know. And here is a new page, and this is books I want to reread. I don't have a lot of books that I'm like, oh, I want to reread, but there are some books that I read and I'm like, I feel like I could have enjoyed this if I was in a different mood, aka The Hobbit. Like, I enjoyed it, but I feel like I wasn't in the right mood to enjoy it as much as I could have. But I like the adventure, I like the characters, so I want to reread that again. And that's going to be my general like books to reread kind of reason. But with these two, Maurice and A Little Life, I want to reread them to annotate them, because I feel like they're very annotation worthy, or like just highlighting very nice ways of like their writing style. I really enjoyed both their writing styles, so that's something I want to do. Alright, and so this page is kind of like that monthly, this kind of monthly book. I want to focus us on the number of books read, so that's why it's kind of just a line. I'm going to stick my favorite book of the month up here, and then I'll write the books read and then my average rating. Except I do average ratings out of 10 personally, so I'm not going to draw stars. I'm just going to write blah out of 10. My theme was kind of like an RPG, like an RPG, D&D game kind of adventure aesthetic vibe going on. For the month, I did August as the character's name. This forest wizard's name is August Winter. I said August Winter because in Australia right now it is winter, so that was my reasoning, no other reason. And yeah, and I kind of had like a status window with the HP and the mana, and the quest completed. I actually haven't written this in, I should write this in. I totally forgot about that, but yeah, this quest part is like completed books, which is 33, and then in progress, which is carryovers from last month, which I will complete. And then I kind of stuck some stickers because I had a sticker sheet that was kind of that theme, and then I drew some miscellaneous items like potions, a coin pouch. But yeah, that is my current new journal, and I will be keeping this journal from August until the end of the year. But yeah, I hope watching this video gave you some ideas on how you want to add to your reading journal, or perhaps how you want to format it. And I'll see you all for the next video. See ya!